Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thrive, where I believe you were not created to survive, but to thrive. And if you change yourself, you can change your world. I am your host, Alex Sagat, and I'm excited to jump back into Thrive. We're talking all things life, leadership, and lifestyle. I approach these like I would our staff meetings or our leadership meetings. I really do believe that no matter what you lead in, some of these can help us all. I'm a pastor of a church here in South Florida called Calvary, but whether you lead a home, a marriage, a small business, some of these can, I think, make us all better when it talks about leadership. Today, I'm really excited to jump back in and talk about poison. Today, I want to talk about poison when it comes to leadership. In fact, I titled this one, Don't Drink the Poison. Don't drink the poison. Reading through scripture, we love the Bible. We believe the Bible here at Calvary. There is this one verse in the third letter of John, chapter 1, verse 2, where John writes this, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. I want everything to go well with you. I'm praying that everything goes well, just as your soul is doing well, which brings up the question, how is our soul? Is our soul really prospering? Is it healthy? When it comes to the soul, we're talking about the mind, the will, the emotions of humanity. How are we in our soul? And he basically is giving an expectation for our soul to be prospering. If you're following God, if you have a relationship, thriving relationship with Jesus, your soul should be prospering. Is it? Let's take a moment to think about that. As leaders, is our soul healthy? I want you to have a healthy soul, he says. I want it to be moving onward and upward. I think when it comes to leadership and the things that we lead in our life, whether that's our marriages, our families, our homes, our churches, our organizations, things can go south quickly if our soul has poison. I think you can't have a good, prospering business if you're a businessman with a poisoned soul. You can't lead a church well if you have a poisoned soul. Your marriage will not thrive if you have a poisoned soul. You've allowed some things to get into your soul that is going to hinder, limit, and going to stop the growth and the health of that which you lead. So today, how is our soul? Or let's look on the inside. The health of an organization, a church, or a marriage depends on the health of the soul of that which is leading it. Collectively, our collective health will be determined by our personal health, right? The collective health of an organization, a team, a home, it will be determined by our personal health, not just physical. I'm talking about our soul's health. Are we prospering? Are we doing well? So I want us to talk about this for the next few moments. How is our soul? Let's talk about this today. You can't ignore your soul. You got to take care of your soul. In fact, for the next few moments, I want to talk about 5 things that poison our soul. 5 things that can poison your soul and stop whatever it is that you're leading to become prosperous and healthy because your soul is not healthy. Let's talk about this. What are the 5 things? I'm going to give you 5 poisons. I believe if you take some time on a journal somewhere to keep writing things down, you can come up with more poisons. I came up with 5 that I think stops us from becoming good, healthy leaders. Number 1, selfish ambition. Selfish ambition is a poison to the soul of a leader that leads a family, a home, an organization. Now, not all ambitions are bad. Not all ambitions are evil. But I think there's a selfish ambition that is not good. I think there's some spiritual ambition that's great. I think there's some leadership ambition that's great. But just be careful for that not to become a selfish ambition. Am I doing this because I want to get something out of it for my own right, for my own benefit, for my own cause, for my own fame? I want to win an argument. I want to be known. That's selfish ambition. And that can become poison for the soul. I think we need to understand and know that this needs to be a cause bigger than our own life and our own ego. Pastor Rick Warren, in his best-selling book, A Purpose-Driven Life, he actually begins chapter 1 with these words, it's not about you. It's not about you. And I think if we're going to take care of our mind, our will, our emotions, our soul, we need to know it is not about us. It's not about us. If we have an ambition that's all about us, where is my title? Where's my position? People are not recognizing me. I'm not getting the credit I deserve. That's always going to poison the soul. That's going to poison your soul. It's going to poison the soul of the people around you in your marriage, in your relationships. If it's always about what you're getting, I think that stops the organization, the marriage, the relationships from flourishing and going on to the next level. It's not about me. I need to approach this knowing I live and my purpose is something bigger than myself. I live and I strive to help others, to make Jesus known, to make God known. He's just using me as a vessel. If I approach it with that type of ambition, then I think things can be healthy and things can grow and things can flourish. What will poison your soul? What will poison your soul? What will poison our families, our organizations, our churches? It's selfish ambition. A soul that says this is all about me. Where's my promotion? Where's my title? When am I getting my raise? And I think some of these are okay to talk about, but if you just let that take number one in your soul, it's going to poison it. Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4 says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others." That's a great verse to know when it comes to selfish ambition. I'm not going to do this for my own name, my own recognition. Selfish ambition always poisons the soul, and it can ruin the ground of that which we are planted in. It can ruin the ground of a home, a family, an organization. Today, come on, let's remind ourselves, it's not about me. When I teach, it's not about me. When I lead, it's not about me. I'm trying to make others better. I want to make my spouse better. I want to make my kids better. I want to make my organization better. Don't allow the poison of selfish ambition to rule you and to lead you. Okay, I think there's a place and a time for certain conversations, but don't let it be the thing that rules your spirit. It can definitely poison the soul. What is our goal? Together, we are going to move forward. Together, we're going to have a healthy home. Together, it's not about who wins the argument. Come on, let's find resolve. Let's work through this. Let's get through this argument, this problem, this discussion in our marriage. We're moving forward together. I don't need to win the argument. I just want us to get over it and find the determination to win on the other side, no matter who gets the credit. When you have that kind of attitude, you can have a healthy home, a healthy organization, a healthy church, no matter who the credit goes to. Selfish ambition, the first poison of the soul. Number 2, a critical spirit. I think a critical spirit can poison the soul more than you know. The thing about a critical spirit is everybody sees it except the person that's the critic. And I'm just trying to help you. We see you when you have a critical spirit, and it does not come off well. A critical spirit can hinder you from becoming a healthy leader, can hinder your soul, can hinder your influence. And so I think this is something we need to look out for. Maybe we've judged people. Maybe we've been critical about people without ever even knowing them fully, knowing the situation fully. We have to be careful when we become critical or judgmental about what we're a part of, the people that we are surrounded by. Don't judge somebody without knowing their story. Don't judge a situation without you knowing the full context. Many times, you and I, all we have is 25% of whatever is going on. And with that, we already start making opinions, thoughts. And I think we have to be very careful because that can turn into a critical spirit. Now, every meeting we walk into, we have a critical spirit. We approach our family members with a critical spirit, our coworkers with a critical spirit, and that's never going to lead to anything healthy. Now, I'm not saying we don't judge things, but don't become judgmental. I'm not saying we don't critique things, but we don't become critical. There is a big difference between the two. You can give constructive criticism, you can critique some things, but don't be that leader that's always critical. Don't be that leader that's always judgmental, right? Be careful with your language. Be careful with your perspective on things. A critical spirit will never lead to health. Today, let's take a moment. Have I been critical? Have I been too judgmental? I don't know this person fully. I don't know this coworker. Maybe they just started working next to you and you're already annoyed at them or whatnot. Get to know their story. Get to find out what is going on with them. I think we need to get a bigger perspective, a bigger heart, and try to work together in all that we do. I'm not going to become this person that's always judging, not knowing all that is going on. I heard a story one time of a man in a subway, and he had 3 kids, and the kids were just absolutely going crazy. They were jumping all over the train. They were going crazy, and people around were kind of judging this man. He had his face down and would close his eyes from time to time. He was not saying anything to his kids, and people started getting worked up. Like, who is this father not taking care of his kids? And I think somebody approached him finally, and he excused himself, said he was so sorry, grabbed his kids, but what nobody knew there was that his wife had just passed away in the hospital. They had just left the hospital room several hours earlier. The man was going through hell, and the kids were acting crazy on a train. And yet, if we develop a critical spirit, we'll first start judging the situation before finding out about the person in that situation. Again, all to say, I'm not saying we don't judge things, we don't critique things, but just make sure that's not the spirit. Let's always be merciful, gracious, kind. Let's lead with that. And I think health will always follow that. We're absolutely gonna give our opinion on some things. We are going to critique, but don't have a critical spirit. Luke chapter 6, verses 36 and 38. I love this. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you'll be forgiven. Give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, it will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. I don't know. I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't want people to approach me all the time with a critical, judgmental spirit of me, how I'm doing, how I'm leading. But I want people to be gracious and merciful to me the same way I try to be to people. Number 2, the critical spirit will stop health from happening in our organizations, families, or homes. And so today, let's remember, especially when it comes to the church is the hope of the world. Not just the judge of the world. We'll judge certainly, but we are first and foremost the hope of the world. If you are a church leader, be careful of a critical spirit. You will stop receiving if you become that critical person. So that is number 2. Let's go on to number 3, a bitter heart. A bitter heart. A heart that has become bitter or resentful will absolutely stop your soul from flourishing, being healthy, your team being healthy. If you are a leader that you've allowed your heart to become bitter, I'm telling you, it is stopping, hindering, limiting your team, that which you lead, that home, that marriage, those relationships from flourishing and being healthy. How is your heart today? A heart full of bitterness will create a root of bitterness in our life. And so if you're really over something, it will come out that you are no longer talking about it. You're no longer ruled by it. God has healed you over that thing. But if you're constantly talking about this issue on your team or with a person or with a spouse, with a family member, you're still not over it. And it's coming out in the way you talk. It's coming out in the way you approach things. It's coming out in the way you lead some of the meetings. It's coming out in the way your personality is now showing in different aspects. And so you just got to be careful. Don't walk around with a bitter heart. It's never going to lead to health. That root of bitterness deep down inside that you need to get worked out, it's not adding health to your team. And I believe it's poison for the soul. And I think so many of us, we're not careful. We're operating, we're leading with a bitter heart. Get that checked out. Come on, let's get some health in our soul. If we want to be better leaders, get health in your soul. I want my soul to prosper. I want my soul to be healthy as it should. So I'm not going to allow anything to rule or determine my heart or my spirit that leads me to bitterness. Don't wait for God to take it out. He's giving you the power and authority today, and it's called forgiveness. Unforgiveness always leads to a bitter heart. Today, maybe we say we've forgiven people, but we really haven't. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. Oh, yeah, I got over that. I'm done with that. But it keeps popping up. It's in your mind. It's ruling your spirit. It's ruling your heart. and it's stopping you and I from becoming the healthy leaders that God needs us to be. We are not thriving because a bitter heart, unforgiveness is holding us back. And I've seen this over and over. I've seen leaders with bitter hearts. I've been in meetings with people with bitter hearts. I've been that guy at times. It's not going to lead to health. And so today, let's get that checked out, worked out. Let's get that to a healthy place, whether we need therapy, counseling, we need a pastor to help us. But when you get that worked out, you'll begin to thrive in leadership. I don't have no reservations in my heart. I'm not bitter. I'm not resentful. I got an open heart. I got a forgiving heart. I'm over that. Whatever happened, I'm over. In fact, forgiveness doesn't free them. It frees you and I. When you forgive, it frees you. We've heard this a million times. When it comes to leadership, lead that way. And I'm telling you, I think our teams will be healthier and we're going to be so much better because of it. I really believe that offense is a choice. You can stay offended if you want to. All of us have something to be offended about. Somebody's done us wrong. Something happened that was not right. Offense is a choice. Today, choose not to stay offended. I'm not going to stay offended, especially if you're a leader. Don't lead your home offended. Don't lead your family offended. Don't lead your team offended. It's noticeable. And so a bitter heart can definitely stop your soul from flourishing and your team from flourishing. Move forward. God has much more for you. Hebrews chapter 12 says, therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and your weak knees. Make level paths for your feet so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. Make every effort to live at peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and to defile many. Come on, let's cultivate a healthy soul. Let's get it worked out. Whatever we need to do. When we don't forgive someone, we're going to develop bitterness, and a root of bitterness will ensue, and it's going to limit us and our teams. Number 4, small foxes. Small foxes. This one right here is a way of summarizing a whole bunch of little things that can get into our soul that stops us from being leaders who thrive. They're poisons that come in, and they're described as small foxes. We got this from the book of Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15 says, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom. In other words, many times the things that destroy the vineyard or the thing that God has you leading, it's not the big things. It's not the big problems. It's not the big issues. It's not what happened that caused the huge problem. But it's little things that come into that which you are leading, churches, teams, organizations, homes. It's little attitudes. It's little things that we confess. It's little mindsets. It's little things that come in, the little foxes, the small foxes. And those are the things that ruin the vineyards. They're the small foxes we don't see. They're the small foxes that creep in at night and start eating away at the vineyard and destroying the vineyard. There's some things in our life that if we're not careful, there'll be the small foxes in our life that limit our potential to thrive as leaders, that stop the health of an organization. There are some little foxes that you need to look out for. Okay, maybe language, maybe a mindset, maybe an attitude. What are those small foxes? All right, I think an incorrect attitude can be a small fox. I think an incorrect mentality can be a small fox. You walk into meetings, you walk into your dinner table with the wrong attitude, with the wrong mentality, with an incorrect confession. I'm already saying the words always and never. We've heard about that always in relationship conferences. I just used it, but don't use those two words. I'm not going to start an argument with you always do this or you never do. Again, those are small foxes that already can stop the health, the thriving of a team and of our soul. I'm going to watch out for those little foxes. When I have 2, 3, 4 little foxes in my heart, it's stopping and limiting all that God wants to do. As somebody said this one time, the devil doesn't destroy most Christians with big things. The devil destroys a lot of Christians with small foxes. It's not the big mistakes that get us. It's usually the little things that led up to that. I compromised in this one area. I did this one thing wrong, and I didn't care. I started allowing this mentality, this attitude to foster and build in my heart and in my spirit. And so the small foxes, that's what we need to take care of, right? Language, I said, is one of them. I think we need to be careful. When you speak a certain way, you can start to divide team. Well, my team did this, and my department always does this. I'm so proud of our team. You can be proud, but if you're not careful, that little small fox can start to create a division. We're one team. We tell our team all the time, regardless of different campuses we're going to be in, different departments, we are one team working together. Your language can be a small fox that brings division in a marriage, in a home, with your kids, how you address it. Come on, we're all united. Don't allow the small foxes to bring division. I think we are all one team working together. And so don't allow those small foxes. And then number 5, when it comes to a thriving leadership, a thriving, healthy soul, the 5th thing that can poison a soul is a disconnected life. A disconnected life. I think a soul, human soul, will, mind, and emotions needs relationships. We were meant to live in relationships. A life without community is really a life without accountability. And so if you want to stop your health, have no accountability for your life. If you don't want to have a soul that is prospering, don't be accountable to nobody. Do whatever you want. You and I are free to do whatever. We don't got to speak to nobody, give account to nobody. And if you're not careful, and I'm not careful, that will lead to an unhealthy path. I think it's so good to have accountability for our soul. Hey, this is on my will. My will has been fighting against God's will. This has been on my mind. That my emotions are here. And if you have somebody that you can be accountable to, you can keep your soul in check and make sure it's prospering and in health, thriving. And so God made us to be absolutely in relationship. Who are you accountable to? Who are you speaking about your soul? Do you have a pastor? Do you have a leader? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a coach? Do you have a therapist? For a long time, I did it. And maybe about 6-7 years ago, I started saying, no, I need to seek these things out. They're not going to appear out of nowhere. I need to start calling some people. I need to start meeting with some. I need to make an appointment with a therapist. Do it. You're going to be all the better because of it. And I think your soul is going to start prospering because of it. Hey, this is in my soul. I need to get some of these small foxes out, this bitter heart out, this critical spirit out. When you start talking, when you are connected and you start talking, health just begins to flow in your soul, and it will show up in your team. It will show up in the culture you're building, the team you're building, the organization, the home you lead. It's going to be absolutely noticeable. And so in our church, we tell everybody, be in a connect group, be in relationships, have somebody you are accountable to. And you're going to see it begin to thrive. You're going to see it begin to bring health to your soul, to your mind, to your will, to your emotions. Today, I want to tell you, don't drink the poison. In leadership, we have so many opportunities to be poisoned, right? All kind of situations happen when we lead. We lead organizations, teams, homes. There's going to be moments for us to get mad, bitter, upset, critical, isolated. All of these things, they are poisons for our soul. And I want you to prosper in your soul. I want your soul to continue. I want my soul to continue. I don't want to be enslaved in my mind, my will, or my emotions. I want it to thrive. And so today, if we're going to be those leaders who thrive, don't drink the poison. Don't drink the poison. Get connected. Don't live a disconnected life. I really believe that God wants us to be healthy, connected leaders. So today, don't drink the poison of a selfish ambition. Don't drink the poison of a critical spirit. Don't drink the poison of a bitter heart, of small foxes, and of disconnection. Today, I believe that you can thrive. And remember, if you can change yourself, you can change your world.